Can't even play music in the background.
But I'm also creating pro.
Music in the background.
But I'm also creating.
Music. Man, I apologize for that, y'all. They clipped my live talking about the music. You can't even play music in the background. They clipped my live because they saying it contained music. That's just in the background though. Let me bring you back in, man. Wow. Wow, I apologize for that, y'all. I apologize for that, man. Wow.
Yeah, I got kicked off, bro. Sorry about that.
Yeah, nah, man. I'm gonna just explain real quick. So I'm in my car. I'm playing the music. They saying the music contains copyrights or something like that. I'm like, damn, that's just music in the background. They stopped the live.
Got you. Okay, I was about to say, man. I'm real skeptical of 5G right about now, so I was gonna
For
blame
real.
5G, brother.
Yeah, I should have screenshotted it, but yeah, man, Big Brother always watching. I'm like, damn, I'm just playing the music in the back as we just killing time. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, like I was saying, bro, you go ahead and tell the folks your story, who you are.
Well, yeah, I'm Marques Burnett, co-founder of SUV TV. I say co-founder. I own it with my wife,
Yes.
Lisa Burnett. So, SUV. I won't even say what SUV is short for because I feel like most people know us through the SUV TV brand. The sports utility vehicle is more of the business side. I got an ad agency marketing background. So we got the SUV TV side, which is just focused on the content. People wanting to see that full game, that clip, that original content. Then we got an SUV Inc. side, which is more sports marketing, activation, more of the business of sports outside of just the content delivery.
Awesome, awesome. Like I said, brother, sharp in the business, great mind. One of the things that I love is that he is in business in partnership with his wife, his better half, and they've able to make that work. When you see him working, you see her working, and just talk to us about that collaboration with your wife, because not everybody's fortunate enough to have that kind of connection in
Yeah,
business.
man. I mean, it's unique. It's funny because when we first started the company, it was really her coming along to kind of help build my vision. And the deeper we get into it, and when you see a lot of how our stuff is packaged, how we've been able to grow the brand, it's almost as if I feel like my vision just complemented her talents versus it being her coming in to help my vision. So it's funny how we've kind of done a 360 of sorts. And I think all of that just comes back to the fact that, obviously she's a great fit. We're partners in life, but from a partners in business standpoint, man, she's incredible. So when they say I say all the time that's the real MVP, and I'm not just saying that on some cliche type stuff. She's
Yeah,
very cold at what she does, and it's been a big part of our growth.
man, that's dope. And I think that's the bigger man can even say that, you know what I mean, and really just stand on that. And that's
And
a
bro,
very
you know how it is, man. The missus is the true boss anyway,
oh for
brother.
sure. Oh, I know. Oh yes,
You
sir.
know how it go anyway.
Yes, sir. My wife hold me down too. You know what I'm saying? All the time. And I just think that's really a beautiful thing and unique that you have, and it's good to see Black love flourishing like that, especially in business, especially young. You know what I mean? We're not talking about, there's nothing against it, but we ain't talking about somebody, in these 60s and all that. Nah, we talking about young brothers and sisters getting their stuff together, being sharp, managing it, getting it done, and having a great business plan idea and executing it at the highest level, man. So just talk to us about how you just got started with the SUV TV and then how that came about.
Well, the SUV TV and the vision for it, it ended up coming throughout a process of me taking what I love most about every position or every discipline I had, and then taking what I love most about it and matching that with blind spots that I saw in the industry, primarily in the areas of broadcasting. I have a marketing background, started off in an ad agency, done some marketing on the corporate side. And so I've always had that sports marketing slash activation lens.
Mm-hmm.
But I will really say that the first time I sort of segued into broadcasting was when I was given the job of marketing a platform called iHigh, and they were more like a YouTube but for high school sports. And
Gotcha.
so it was in marketing that platform that I saw everybody's talking about broadcast potential, how it can get kids scholarships, how it can help family members be engaged, and how it can help college coaches evaluate, how it can raise sponsors. But in everything that I was seeing, I didn't really see a quality element that brought all of those goals to fruition. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was about how do I take my marketing and broadcasting experience and love of sports, and how do I marry that with needs that I see not being met in the sports industry. And so that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of how the need for SUV was kind of brought to life. Then on top of that, I'm from Indiana, man. I didn't see enough basketball broadcasts down here in Georgia when I first moved down here. You know, football, you can get almost 4 games a week.
Yes.
If I wanted to hop online and see, the type of high school basketball that is on full display now, I didn't have anywhere to find it. So that was another reason why we created SUV to take that basketball broadcast presence and increase it. Because as you can see, we got some great basketball down here, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, on so many levels, and it seems like you covering the top premier games too. You're like y'all there. If it's a big game, y'all are there in multiple spots, same night. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's amazing. So talk to us about that growth. How you were able to make it grow. You know, I'm not gonna say it was fast. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
fast it was, but it did seem pretty quick. How you able to just have a large coverage as you do.
What I love about that, True Line, is that, bro, it's been dope because we've been able to grow the brand, but I feel like for us, it's almost like, with you being a basketball guy, it's almost like sometimes you'll have a team that has all of the 5 stars, all of the highly ranked guys, and you know what they're going to hit you with. And sometimes the more dangerous team is the team where the tallest guy might be 6'3", 6'4", but they're scrappy, they defend, and
Yep.
they're a lot better than that airport test told you they were.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we've got a nice happy medium because we've grown to the point to where I feel like our footprint and what we've been able to do for the game is respected. But I feel like there's still a little bit of a sleep element because you hear husband and wife and you know how we're knocking things out. Other groups hear husband and wife and I think they think mom pop shop sometimes, even if the footprint might tell you otherwise.
Right.
So I think the growth of this has been fun because for us, we've always played at our pace. We've never gotten sped up to the speed of competition. Everybody wanting to run into streaming. Everybody wanting to stream, even if the quality isn't where it needs to be. So for us, it's always been kind of playing at our pace. And that's what I love about how with our business model, it really mirrors how the game of basketball is in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
We grew our brand by just committing to working hard, even when we weren't as well known, and just doing our best job and acting like every broadcast we did, it might as well be the Super Bowl or it might as well be the NCAA tournament. And in that approach, I feel like it's what you've seen kind of set us apart as we grow because we're not just here to, talk at the game or culture vulture. We're here to really make sure we're enhancing it for every part of the community. So I think that's been a big part of the growth. And not just that, a lot of the great basketball that we have down here.
Yeah.
Because for every Colin Sexton and for every Colin Sexton you have and for every Wendell Carter you have, you might have an Eric Gaines who is going to LSU and doing well, but in my opinion, could have gotten a lot more talk and a lot more buzz given the way that he could hoop.
Yeah.
Or you might have a Naheem Aline who was a little underrated when he was in high school, but had an incredible freshman year there at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, not Georgia Tech. Apologies, Hokie Nation. Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Man, I had to make a correction on that one quickly, bro.
Yeah, they're going to jump on you, boy. What's going on? What you talking about? but you're making this transition. You're making this growth. You're moving through. Like you have a large footprint in the basketball world throughout the Southeast for sure. Talk to us about how, is it fun to you? Is it something you enjoy doing? And when it isn't, how do you keep it? How do you keep it at that level where you like, all right, we want to keep it fun?
It's funny, man, because I don't know. It's like even when we have stretches, like I think we had a stretch to where over a 48-hour period, I want to say we had like 56 broadcasts in a 48-hour period at one stretch, and it's like we get tired at times as the normal human does, but we never get tired at what we do because we just love what we do too much. I mean, it's hard to explain, man. But I guess the second we get tired, you start to get a second win when you think of that kid that's right there on the cusp.
Mm-hmm.
And if you capture that game that he has against better competition than he might have faced the last 4 games, if you capture it right, it could be the difference between that kid getting an offer and answering some question marks that a coach had about him,
Mm-hmm.
or if you take a play off, or if you don't capture that baseline shot the way it needs to be captured, if you don't show how that guy hedges on the screen, you never know what difference it can make. So for us, we don't get tired because we love what we do. But aside from that, man, these coaches, players, parents, everybody works too hard for us to take the job of broadcasting that game lightly. And so in that regards, man, we always have a reserve of energy to tap into because, I mean, we're not going to work any less harder than every other aspect of the basketball community. We owe it to them.
Yeah. Nah, and I'll tell y'all, this brother works hard, serious about what he does, gets the job done on time, checking his equipment on the floor. Like, I've seen him, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know I'm a busy dude when I'm out there, and I'm like, I peep what's going on. The brother be on his move.
And it's birds of a feather. I mean, when you look at what you do, True Vine Media, with your platform and the way you have your own flair and the style of what you do it with, and the way you move, you don't move. You're not a normal 9 to 5er in terms of your energy, and that's part of what I love about the business. I feel like the traditional 9 to 5 and that's it. That's going by the wayside.
Yeah.
If you're just a traditional 9 to 5er, it's going to be tough to be able to stay in that same circle and at that same pace as yourself, as myself, as a Ja Rawlings and what he's done with an ABL. I mean, when you look at some of the contributors to culture that we have here at various levels, man, you got to be moving to keep up, man.
You gotta be moving. You gotta be shaking, and like you said, really being innovative and moving out. Talk to us about some of those connections.
I'll tell you one example of another reason why we don't get tired, because for me, every time we've pushed through and worked as hard as we possibly can, and we work smart too,
right?
But every time we pushed through and worked as hard as we could, there's always been some sort of gateway opportunity that's made it worth it. For example, when I first got into business, this was back when I was with iHigh, I had to record the game, do the commentary, and update the score, and man the camera at the same time.
Wow.
And I ended up doing that at a Memorial Day Classic, and Chris Paul's team happened to be playing in it, his younger team. Right. Fast forward, we do that. We do his 3 games. It happened to be right before the NBA lockout, and Chris Paul said, man, we're going to have an all-star game. That was one that had LeBron, KD, all of those guys up there. And we actually got a chance to broadcast that game. But it was because we went and did 3 games that nobody, on the grand scheme of things probably cared about. Right. We busted our hump to build that rapport and get in that position. So when they do that all-star game at Winston-Salem, back when they did it, 1.6 million views, you don't get that if you're not willing to work for the 125 views at Swanee Sports Academy, months ahead of time. So it's just, in the days of going viral, man, don't sleep on the value of being able to deliver value beyond the vanity metrics, beyond the likes, the views, and the instant retweets. Play the long game, and the long game has never led us astray, because we did a football game at Valdosta that night, drove from Valdosta to Atlanta, I think about 4 hours, got to Atlanta about midnight, 1 a.m., if not later, and then drove straight to Winston-Salem so that we could be there in time to do that Chris Paul game that next day. So we were going on fumes, but at the end of the day, man, who cares, bro? Yeah. We had an opportunity of a lifetime to take the business to the next level. Yeah. You're not focused on energy. You can sleep once you finish that game, which we did.
Slept real good.
Exactly, brother.
You brought up a good point talking about playing the long game, having the patience, being able to have vision to see it through. Because I was going to ask you a question about advice, and you kind of gave that advice. A lot of people don't have that. They think we live in the Instagram world. We live in I call it the microwave generation, where you pop it in for 30 seconds, bing, it's done. You come back out, and it's not necessarily the case all the time. Some stuff got to be made in the furnace. It's built in the furnace. It takes a little while. It takes a little longer. The locks, the smith got to bang on it and get it right. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through the bumps and bruises. Talk to us about those connections and what you learned about not just the connections you made in your path, but the failures, the mistakes, the ups and downs, and how you turned it around.
I liken it to you always got to have this controlled chaos of knowing what you know, always working to increase what you know, But then knowing what you don't know so that you're not so headstrong, that you're not, ignoring best practices, adjustments, and key pivots you can make when it comes to your business, whatever that may be. So it's always this ongoing thing. And I would say you have to have a combination of doing your homework to be the best at your craft, whatever that craft may be, as well as the peripheral areas around that craft. Amazon didn't get to where they are by only thinking what they were doing at that time. Because a lot of times they were just an intermediate or, a shipping resource or something for other groups that were in much more powerful of a position. They were an assistant and associate to Toys R Us at one point. Before supplanting them in the industry. So I say, aside from doing your homework, look at the peripherals around your industry, because don't just look at it in a vacuum as far as what you're providing right then. The world is as innovative as it's ever been. So if you're only looking at what's in front of you and just that core business, it's already, I won't say it's already too late, but I say you're behind the ball. So get going. So I would say that. And then I would also say, man, you got to be able to kind of go on your convictions when it comes to business, because, I've had my times where I was just soaking everything up like a sponge. And now I'm at a point in my business career where I can kind of stand on the quality of our work and not worry so much about the extras. And by the extras, I mean, there are unique scenarios for every business owner. I think as African-American business owners, there are some dynamics that are unique to what we kind of go through. And so I think for us, it's always important. I think W.E.B. Du Bois had something that put it a little bit more concise than how I'm putting it right now. But there's always this balance of staying true to your principles, being the platform that you can be for other Black entrepreneurs and other businesses coming behind you, but then being able to play the game enough so that you play chess, so that you have as much or as many resources as possible to put behind your brand, as well as the brands you want to blaze a trail for. And I'm at a point where I realize you can dress stuff up and you can fluff it up. Nothing trumps delivering value.
No.
Nothing trumps delivering value. I've seen some of the best business interactions and best business deals happen, and it wasn't because everybody was all rosy and, everybody put sugar on everything. It was very straightforward, straight to the point, value for value. Even if there was a disagreement early on, the whole focus was delivering win-win value on both sides. So it got us to a good point. And I would say for us, the advice that I would give, in addition to being, top at your craft and doing your homework and thinking of things peripherally, stand on your gut. Stand on your convictions. Because usually when you're doing that, it's not the popular thing at the time. We praise Kobe now. We praise Jordan now. And a lot of us praise them then too. But a lot of us forget people that were prisoners of the moment saying they shot too much. They could be a little bit more warm and fuzzy with their teammates. They could, and I'm not saying I know everything, but I say that to say you got to be okay with these knee-jerk reactions and rush judgments that people make. Look at the bigger picture and stay the course. When we started doing full game streaming, everybody said, man, it's a full game. Nobody wants to see that. Now you got people turning from business models that they weren't even in and going into streaming because it's the hot thing. So again, do your homework and stay your course, but don't let the peanut gallery dictate that. Be perceptive, but don't let it totally, drive the situation.
I totally agree with you, man. Not everything is going to be peachy keen. Peachy keen is not going to be easy street. It's not going to be a cakewalk. And you're right. There's going to be naysayers. There are going to be critics. And you have to be strong enough, man enough, woman enough, courageous enough to say, you know what? Forget that. I know what I believe. I know what I'm on. And you're right. That business model that you're standing on. And I'm with you. I'm learning so much about media. I mean, this is what I do, and I've been doing this half my life. But I'm learning so much about, like you said, the peripherals, key thing, the different things that's around the main surface that I offer. I come to realize that True Bound Media is not just video production. We're a full service media company. We provide promotion. We provide video services. We provide editing services. We also do marketing and different things. So it's amazing that, like you said, what you touch on when you're in it and you're willing to learn and you're willing to grow from the different things, man. That's phenomenal. Like I told you, man, this guy right here is sharp. You can learn a lot from this brother here. You know, very, 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 very insightful, man. I enjoy speaking with this brother, and I just got to share the story because for so long I've seen SUV TV around. They've seen me around, and I know some of the camera ops and different things like that. And we never really talked. And I've had people say, "Man, yo, bro, you need to holler at SUV," and probably vice versa, different things like that. And I was like, "Man, that brother too busy for me. We'll catch up at another time." And that was just I just carried it like that. You know what I'm saying? And so one day it just dawned on me, like, you know what? We were at an event. That's what we were at a game. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna approach the brother. I'm gonna see what's up.
Yeah.
And when I talked to him, brother was receptive, was approachable, and it was like, yo, you know what? That's what. Let's have lunch. Just that and that. And I was like, all right, boom. And I say that to say a lot of times we operate on a surface level, and we keep moving from there. But it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? We can't be superficial. If it's really something that's on our heart and we want to learn and we want to know about what's going on, we gotta reach out and we gotta speak. They say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right?
Yeah.
Closed mouth don't get fed. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
very true, man. Like you say, you got to go beyond the surface, and that's something universal that applies to every industry. I don't care what the subject matter is. We can be talking hoop, we can be talking the sciences.
Yes.
You know, being able to go beyond the surface is key. And it's great because we have so many social media elements and, in my opinion, surface things that make society better now. But I think we also have a focus on surface that has led to a loss of authenticity in a lot of areas when it comes to media.
Wow.
So I think as media, I think we got a better responsibility to, still do our thing, and everybody has their own lane, but kind of have some sort of compass in mind to where it's not just, anything for the clicks and the views kind of thing.
Right.
To where we're doing a disservice, because at the end of the day, these kids are still going to have to play chess. These kids that we broadcast and cover, and that and the reality of it is, you tell and send certain messages through your coverage.
Yes.
Any media outlet that has built a reputation, your coverage is teaching the kid a lesson, whether you know it or not.
Yes.
So not to say you can make everything harder than it has to be. Sometimes it really is just document the play. But be careful what you capture with that lens and what you promote, because somebody's looking at it, and if all they do is go to mainstream media and it's more about, the jelly and the extras, and it might be a horrible basketball play in the midst of that being shown, what's more important? The 500,000 views, or putting something out that you feel goes with the ethos of what you're doing, of why you're doing what you're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When I look at the Julian Newman kid, when I look at, and that's a great point by Gator Sports, everybody in media isn't for the right reasons, and that's obvious. And I don't say that to judge, because like I said, SUV has taken a certain stance, and I feel like, even a platform like yours, you're going to recap the game and do it in a way that is very unique and complements what we do well. So I'm not going to look at it and say, oh, I wouldn't do it like that, because I think it's great. I think they all serve a purpose.
Right.
But I think some stuff, it's more about the views. They could care less about the person. I look at that Julian Newman series. I think that's the young kid's name, out of Florida. And the group that is doing that series, showing them, fighting during different things, and, showing all of the stuff that gets quick clickbait.
Right.
But puts this young man in a very tough position in terms of playing college basketball. Now, I think he's decided to turn pro. I'm not sure how much of that is his decision versus, a reaction to kind of what people saw. But again, why follow the kid to just showcase and portray behavior that is going to hurt this kid down the road?
Right.
Because it gets you views now. It gets you surface views now.
Right.
We're cool on that type stuff, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's not culture, man. That's culture vulture stuff right there, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of that going on, and we're mature enough to see the difference between what's going on, but it's very popular, to say the least. And it's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a word association with you right now. I'll just throw out some words and some terms, and you just tell me what you think. First one is Kobe Bryant.
Man, just respect.
Yeah.
Respect, and I gotta say unfair.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Unfair, man. He had worked so hard. He had amassed all the capital he needed to just enjoy the rest of his time with his family, and invest in causes and bigger picture things that he thought was worthwhile. Be it women's basketball, entrepreneurship, whatever the case may be, man. He had earned that, man, working as hard as anyone.
Yeah.
You know, so aside from a dad and a husband being taken away, you know, it's just unfair. But my bad, man. As you can see, man, I still ain't got old, man. We was on the way to the studio when the Kobe news hit, man.
I know. I'm saying I'll bring it up. I've been asking it all week because we in the midst of this COVID-19, but we never got over Kobe though.
Still haven't gotten over Kobe, and that's gonna be a process, man. Shout out to the Love of the Game crew, man.
Yeah,
we were all on the way to tape that day.
Yes,
and none of us felt like continuing to go through with it, but we kind of felt like we had to be there, and we all kind of went through it together. Like I never forget that day, man. But yeah, it's gonna take a while to get over Kobe, man.
Yeah, I know. Whew. On that note, what about AAU?
AAU, misunderstood. Essential and misunderstood. If I can have, you know, 2 words and an ampersand in there, essential and misunderstood.
Okay. All right. What about Georgia basketball?
I will say sleeping giant. Sleeping giant. Okay. And I know now it's well known. Yeah. But the reality of it is, it's always been this same level of talent. When I look back, I wasn't always down here. I've only been here for 12 years. But when I look back at some of the history books and those, you know, that have filled me in on certain things I was here before I got down here, it's always been a hotbed for talent. I just don't think there was always a platform for the talent to be shown on a national stage as much as it is now. So people see it more now. Atlanta's always been loaded. Yeah.
Because it's a transplant city.
Come on, man.
You know, so it's the New York of the South, you know, so it's an international city. Yep. An international airport hub here. So if you're right, it's always been that. It's just now they're getting that shine. Because first of all, we've seen it happen first in music.
Yeah.
The hip hop world took it by storm.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing it more so.
Atlanta is the only market that could pull me from the Midwest. I grew up in Indiana, went to college in St. Louis.
Wow.
My first freelance marketing client, I landed in Atlanta. And in the process of developing that business, it just grew on me, man. The weather, I majored in marketing, so I thought it was a great marketing location.
Yes.
But it's going to be very hard. I'll never say never. It's going to be very hard to pull me out of Atlanta, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. Only thing it's lacking here is a beach. You know what I'm saying? So it's landlocked. But other than that, they got everything else, man. Great connections like we established.
And by the way, I apologize for botching this segment. You're giving me quick one-word associations, and I'm giving you a blurb with each one. I'm taking the mic and giving you a blurb with each one. My bad, big dog.
Nah, listen, we having a conversation. It's all good, man. Explain, you know, go into it. You know, I'm just throwing out the one word or the term, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you can go ahead into it. I got one more for you. Social media.
Social media. The gift and the curse.
What you got to say to that, gift and curse?
Cause man, it's enhanced the way we connect. It's enhanced the dissemination of information, which has been a good thing and a bad thing. Now, you know, there's a rush to be first.
Yes.
There's a rush to go viral. And don't get me wrong, when I'm saying all this stuff, man, in order for SUV to make sure our broadcasts are free for everybody that can enjoy them, we have to be able to generate revenue. So I understand the business of views and having engaging content. So I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater on that note. But that can't be the primary focus.
Right.
You know, so I think with social media, I think for everything that's great, I think it's kind of eroded our ability to sometimes stand on things, even if it might not be the popular opinion at that time, or just let time pass. Like just let it be okay. But everything has to be. We couldn't enjoy the Last Dance documentary because we have to turn it into a LeBron versus MJ versus Kobe.
Oh my, please.
And don't get me wrong, that debate is good at times, but sometimes it's as simple as Jordan was this in his era, Kobe was this, LeBron is this. They're all great, and that's fine.
Yes.
And that's fine, bro. Why? You know, you can sip one bottle or glass of wine without smashing the other two on the floor.
Thank you.
It's okay. You know, so I think social media is great, but I think it's all about balance. And I think that has to be within the person. Because I
Yes.
think the society is always going to feed the big social media engine because it is great. But you got to know when to take a little bit of distance from it. And I think COVID, as much as social media has helped us get through it, I think that's also been emphasized during this time because we really had to kind of deal with a slowed down period that I don't think we could process it, when we're all moving a million miles a minute.
Now, you're absolutely right. The COVID has definitely slowed us down. We've really pumped our brakes in a major, major way. And I think in a good way too. And I think it's going to, so a lot of great things are going to come up out of this. I got one more. This is the last one. The NBA.
NBA, model organization. Model organization. Not perfect, but I think when you look at their pro league counterparts, Adam Silver does a much better job of having the and a good feel for the pulse of his players. I think when it comes to certain things culturally, they do a great job of understanding things without overdoing it. And I think not just the league, you have to give credit for the LeBrons, the Chris Pauls, but even the Jordans and the Pippins and guys back in their days, because I really feel like the CBA and how you see players handling things today. We talk about the athleticism and the gifts that Michael Jordan gave to the game.
Right.
But the way he was able to build his brand, it helps the leverage and negotiating power that athletes have today.
Yeah.
You can use a case study like what he was able to do with Nike and the Bulls franchise. And even though it might be apples to oranges as far as a comparison to a LeBron or some of these players today, there's still some building blocks that was sown there. So I think the NBA just does a much better job of having a living, breathing relationship with his players, being sensitive to his players in a way that I don't feel like the MLB or the NFL are at, and quite possibly might never get at. But there's some socioeconomic / systemic stuff tied into there as well.
Yeah, a lot more. There's a lot more liberty and autonomy in NBA than those other ones. Yeah, that I will agree with that. That's interesting too, because it's very interesting to see. And I like what you brought up about the history of like a Michael Jordan to a LeBron, because even before Michael Jordan, you had Dr. J, and then Larry Bird and Magic, and I think there was a documentary that kind of touched on that a little bit. I think it was the Dr. J documentary that they did on TNT a while back, the Doctor, where they kind of showed he was like one of the first ones that they kind of like commercialized and pushed out a lot through endorsements and different things, made like the face of the NBA and stuff like that. And it just kind of continued on. And I think that's part of the reason we have these debates of who's the greatest, because of the commercialization of the athlete, particularly the NBA athlete, at their greatest and at their greatest pinnacle and in their prime, and when they're winning and when they're champions and stuff like that. And it's a healthy debate. A debate is a good debate, but like you said, it's not always required every single time for it. And what's the best thing about what you do with SUV TV? What's been some of the joys that you've had that came up out of having a business model like that?
I said there are joys on the business side as far as what we've grown it to and the role that we play in sports media. But I say just on the personal side, man, it's just nothing like being able to showcase the game and the hard work that these players, coaches, officials, and just the ecosystem as a whole, the parents, the guy that you might not even see at the game, but he's helping in some kind of way. It's just that ecosystem and being able to support it. It's nothing like, and I use Colin as an example. You saw how he, shot up the charts and had that meteoric rise.
Yes.
You saw little flashes of his motor and his energy back when he was Colin with, half fro, half braids, and he was just moving a mile a minute, back when he was in, 8th and 9th grade. So it's just like being a part of, I guess, being able to be a fly on the wall for that story. You see Sharif Cooper go from, Lil Reef, tell your little brother to, now he's Reef. You've been able to see that process in terms of him being the young cat that showed promise to all the young fellas moving up to, now he's one of the best in the country to a perfect season at 32-0.
Wow.
And so you're able to see that because the reality of it is, at that time, you're just documenting the game. You're not thinking what they could be or you're just documenting the game. broadcasted Super Soft Camp and Trey Young, MJ Walker, PJ Washington, Gary Trent Jr. are in that, you're not thinking glitz and glamour. You're just thinking, man, capture that Super Soft Top 20 game. So it's nice to see the different stories, the parents, the coaches, and just the different things that show you life outside of that sports world. And you play your little part because, you know that sports, man, as we've seen even with COVID, sports is just more than sports.
Yeah.
It's not just the end result of that game, man. It fills gaps. It brings people through tough triumphs. It's a celebration point. It tests adversity. Everybody from the people playing to those that are rooting for them.
Yeah.
So it's just such an important life element. So for us, part of our purpose is to use our business to make lives better for others. And I'm a big Amazon buff, man. Jeff Bezos obsesses with the customer experience.
Yes.
That's their main calling card. It's why they've gotten where they've gotten. I feel like SUV obsesses with the customer's broadcast experience. And when you're able to do that, it makes it so fulfilling because you feel like you're matching the efforts that every other part of the ecosystem is pulling in. And if you're not doing that, then you might just be media. But the right groups is like you said about TrueVine. They're more than media. They're value add. They're a stopgap. They're a way to be there when you can't be. They're a way to tell a story in a way that might not have been told if you didn't show up. And we take pride in that and we enjoy that, man. We got a tagline that says all broadcasts aren't created equal. And it's being able to deliver on that type of premise that makes us fired up to get up every day, man.
I love it, man. I truly love it. Once again, we got Marques Burnett here for SUV TV, man, founder, co-founder of it. Like I said, great business mind, brother, sharp as a tack, giving a lot of jewels, dropping a lot of gems about the game, about streaming, about media, about basketball, the experience, being in business with his wife, and the joys of being able to deliver quality of the experience of basketball, man. I just want to ask, man, is there anybody you want to shout out, anything you want to promote at this time?
Well, man, I just want to shout out, our entire team SUV. Obviously, live sports going on right now, but it's been good keeping in touch with people just over the phone and just, making sure first and foremost everybody's healthy. To the Atlanta basketball community and the greater basketball community, everybody stay safe, stay sound. We appreciate the continued support. We're looking to, broadcasting even more once we come out of this thing to kind of make up for the loss of events and things of that nature. Special shout out to the missus, like I said, the real MVP. And then just the Atlanta, in my opinion, the Atlanta ecosystem as a whole, man. Just shout out to Atlanta because I feel like aside from the talent on the court, the media, we have a very unique collection of talent in so many different areas. Whether it's the brand expert that you had on a couple of lives ago, or a Coach Martin, from a coaching standpoint, to the creators, content creators like we are. It's just such an impressive collection of talent, man. So I just want to shout everybody out, say keep doing a great job. We set the tone here in Atlanta, and I just want us to continue to keep doing that. First and foremost, stay safe. And look, man, I got this hat on for a reason, but you will not find me in a barbershop on Friday. Stay safe and be smart. Now, I'm not knocking anybody's revenue streams, but make sure it's a necessity because there's a unique correlation between the type of places that are opening, in my opinion, on Friday and where we normally dwell or patronize. So I'll let you read between the lines on that, but I had to throw that little PSA in there, man. Just be smart, man. That edge up is, you gotta have it.
It was on time, man. I was right on point, man. And I just want to ask too, while we going through this COVID time, what's been a way you've been maintaining your mental, and what advice are you giving people for this time?
Yeah, so for me, it's just been taking advantage of time to catch up on rest and planning time that we don't always have time to when we're going, when live sports are in action. So it's really just been first things first. Thank God we're safe, and thank God our families are safe in their respective hometowns. And then checking on those around you to making sure that they're good. And then aside from that, we've taken the time to kind of peel the cover back and say, what value can we provide our audience? No games are going on right now, but our coaches are getting better at their craft. Players are trying to get noticed. but then what can you do to speak to the career element and the mental element of these kids, their families, and things of that nature? So for us, it's we rested, we're taking advantage of this planning, but now in the meantime, how do we provide content that factors in the fact that our community still has things they need to hear and engage with during this time? So for us, the work doesn't stop, man. You know, we're
Right.
still going to be there for our community. We're still putting out content as we speak. And between us, Love of the Game pod, the film room we did today, the Michael Jordan Last Dance reaction show, you know, we're going to make sure we keep involved with our community because we'll be there for them like we were before now during this time. And then we look forward to hitting the ground running once things are back up.
Man, that's wonderful. That's wonderful, man. Thank you for coming on, talking to us, man. We love to have you back, of course. Anytime you want to come back, you're always welcome here. We got Marques Burnett from SUV TV, co-founder of that great organization, doing phenomenal work. They're keeping it going. Y'all go check them out. Y'all go follow them. Y'all go check some of the archives. Go to the website, and we look forward to coming up out of this and seeing more great content. I mean, they've been true pioneers here in the Southeast and just really leaving a footprint on the game of basketball, girls and boys. So you'll definitely see them, man. And this is a pleasure and a great honor to have a conversation and be on Live Lessons.
Hey, likewise, bro. Hey, from one pioneer to another, man. Much respect for what you're doing and appreciate that positive vibe, bro. Most definitely, yes. Man. Respect.
Yes, sir. We'll be in touch, bro. And you stay safe and be blessed, man. You and your family.
All right, famo. Stay up now.
All right, cool. Thank you. Peace. And thanks to everybody that tuned in to Live Lessons. This video broadcast this live will be up on YouTube. Give me a couple of days, it'll be up, and we're gonna have a promo ready to promote SUV TV as well. Y'all have a great night. Peace.